Good afternoon, friends. Today we shall talk about inventory audits through data analytical techniques. As all of you know, inventory audit is a very critical subject for management auditors as well as statutory auditors because it is from financial point of view, regulation point of view, operations point of view, internal efficiency point of view, because it directly hits the bottom line. Today, the data is available in the ERP systems or various other peripheral systems, and people conduct various manual tests to conduct audits. We shall be sharing my the screen. There are several challenges that an auditor or the organization faces when they conduct inventory audits. First of all, their locations are dispersed. There are multiple control objectives to be satisfied. The inventory cycle management varies from process to process, from plant to plant, from product to product, and there could be variances of various natures. Initially, to understand the operations and to map it to the systems sometimes takes more amount of time for external auditors, sometimes even for internal auditors. The systems constantly undergo changes through configuration changes. The systems may have external systems or data feeds like budgetary controls, view controls, and many other things. The sampling techniques is insufficient given the volume of the information, given the number of plants that organization may have, or given the complex decision, sampling techniques may have some limitations. Very often, auditors face a challenge that document is inadequate, and the entire audit life cycle is then quite lengthy or it is not acceptable to the organizations. So it becomes imperative that the organizations go for data analytic techniques by sitting at central location and going through data and getting a huge amount of insights. But this has to be done in a very structured and confident manner. So let's say there are four steps through which it can go through. First of all, it's simple confidence review, where the auditors or users conducting audits or control review understands what kind of management setup it is, the plants, the inventory, the store locations, the nature of materials. There are a lot of things he gets inside by understanding the managing setup. They have to understand how the valuations has been configured in the system. They also have to understand whether there has been a customization and various other parameters like tolerance is one of the examples, but there could be many parameters which are set in the beginning when the inventory is rolled out. Most important, master coding, item coding, material coding, material grouping, whatever you may classify, whatever you may call it through. That visibility is very critical because that decides the philosophical base on which the entire inventory model is built up. So the initial in the first step in a confidence review, the auditor gets a snapshot view of how things work, what is the complexity, what are the statistics, so that they can size the assignment accordingly. In step two, they understand the transition insights. That is, what kind of movement types are being configured, what are the different indicators through which inventory is being controlled? There could be many indicators in ERP systems or outside the ERP systems. What are the default rules and validations put in the system through certain checks and controls? One understand that part of it. What are the different transactions and what is the life cycle is something which the organization tries to understand, or the auditors tries to understand. Who are the users and what kind of activities they perform is a behavioral analysis that the people understand, and it is based on inbuilt rules. So that visibility is very important. Then the auditors or who's conducting the review goes to third step and he understands which rules have been violated in terms of data duplications, the item code, vendors, customers, whatever it may be, right? Then our data is missing. What are the rate variances? What are the quantity variances that are taking place and how they are taking place? Are there any chronological inconsistencies? The transactions are backdated or there are delayed entries in the transactions? What are the deviations from the predefined business rules or best practices? Are there external data fields, as I mentioned, to some budgetary controls to be tested? The budget figure may not be in the ERP, sometimes it may be outside the ERP. So based on the identified parameters, the auditor then comes to the observations. And typically, most of the business or most of the auditors stop here by generating the observations. But there is something beyond that, and it could be red flags. That what could not be understood in the step one could not be understood in step two or step three. Though we move in a structured manner, there are a lot many hidden transactions sometimes take place, lot many anomalies takes place because of collusion, because of process inefficiencies, because of the anomalies in such a fashion that they can be exploited by the people who are intended to commit some kind of frauds or revenue leakage, and there could be some red flags. This is not the observation, but they're indicators by which the auditors starts looking into more details. It could be cycle time or lead time analysis, which throws some analysis. It could be trend analysis. It could be budget versus actual, as I mentioned to you, and what kind of deviations are happening in terms of consumptions, receipts, and things like that. It could be fuzzy logics, because sometimes you have to compare the data and you have to compare 80% match, 90% match criteria kind of things, so that you can come to know what is suspicious or the abnormal patterns. Now, this can go endless, but this is where the deep understanding matters. This is one has to customize the rules and get to further leads. We can discuss this further. I have given my email ID, contact, and we have developed a module on which inventory audit intelligence can be built, which for which you can definitely contact us. The point is, unless you understand the structure behind how the inventory audit through scripting takes place through step one to step two, step three, step four, you may land up into more difficulties. But the model that we have developed will help you to optimize your efforts to have efficiencies. So please connect to us. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anything that people let us know.